Hello everyone, I've got another spot washer to unbox and demonstrate today. This is a Karcher or Kärcher or however you pronounce it. I'm going to say Karcher. This is the SE3 Compact Home Spray Extraction Cleaner for upholstery and carpets. Fibre-deep cleaning, ideal for textile surfaces, and it has compact storage. So let's get this open and give it a bit of a demo. So first out of the box we've got an instruction book and product registration. This is the small spraying nozzle. I noticed that there's no brush on this one, so you can't really agitate the stain. So if you've got a very stubborn stain, perhaps it would be best to pre-treat using the spray and then use a brush to agitate it in, leave it for a few minutes and then suction it off. That's if you've got heavily soiled areas or a particularly stubborn stain. But this will just spray out the solution from this green jet at the back, and then it'll suck it up and you'll see the dirty solution coming up through the front of the nozzle. This doesn't come off, so to clean it you'd have to take this to your sink and just run the tap through if you get any clogs or mess inside there. So it's best to rinse it out after every use, especially if you've been picking up something a bit gross. Then we have a spraying crevice tool. So that's good for nooks and crannies. You could use that in small areas of the car that you can't get the main nozzle into. This is a wet use cleaner only. It's not designed for dry pickup. Okay, so if you want to give your car a deep clean, you need to vacuum it first with a dry pickup vacuum cleaner and then use this. And the same goes if you want to use this on your upholstery or your stairs. Always vacuum first. The only exception to that is if you're picking up a wet spill, if it's a pet accident, someone's knocked over a mug of tea or something, then of course you wouldn't vacuum first. You would go straight with the machine to pick up as much of the spillage as possible, and then you treat it using the solution. We also have a hose, and I'm glad that the hose comes off on this. You can store it on board and I'll show you how the hose fits around the machine, but you can also store this separately. And also the fact that you can remove the hose means you can give it a thorough clean out if you want to put the tap over that. This does have a self-cleaning function as well, which I will show you. It's good that it comes off. Also, I expect you can buy this as a spare. I've tested many spot washers that have the clear hose and they are prone to splitting. So hopefully this does feel a lot stronger. So this end clicks into the machine and this is the handle end. This is where you put your attachments. They just click in like so. And then you've got this trigger here that you squeeze to allow the solution to come out of the jets. And you've also got a little lock as well. So you can press this in. See this little button here? You can press that over and then it's permanently spraying solution out. So that's that. And we've also got a little suction control. So, I mean, it doesn't open very far, but if you're cleaning a loose fabric, say upholstered furniture, and the nozzle is sticking to it, you can just ease the pressure a bit by reducing the suction slightly. But for maximum solution extraction, you need to make sure that's closed. So that's the hose. And then we have the cleaner itself. Have we got any solution? I'm not sure. Can't see any. I thought there would be at least a sample sachet. I don't think there is. Maybe it's in here. They might have packed it actually inside. Oh yes, it's packed inside the machine, but you only get a very small amount of solution. This is the on-off switch, and then we have two tanks. One is for your clean water and one is to collect the dirty solution. This is the dirty water tank, and then this one is to put your water and solution. And if we open it up, the whole top comes off. I need to remove, oh there we go. Just be careful when you first take the top off. It's brand new. I'm thinking that with use it'll loosen up, but yeah, that is awkward, I have to say. So you don't want to snap the clip. There we go. I've managed to remove the top. There's also, you don't have to remove the top every time because you've got this little rubber stopper here, so you can actually fill it without taking the top off, and I think that's probably best. Leave the top on. I had to take the top off in this instance to remove the small sachet of solution. I preempted the video and bought, I think this was from Amazon, you can get it from other places as well, eBay, direct from Karcher. This is a full-size bottle of carpet and upholstery cleaner. It's suitable for all their spray extraction machines, including the larger ones. I've shown you one of the larger ones on my channel. It should work in this spot washer as well. That's not going to clean up very much. That might be just one fill, to be honest. So clean water goes in that one. And just carefully pop the top back on, and hopefully, unless we need to rinse this out, we will leave the top on. But yeah, just take care that you don't break one of these clips, as one reviewer did. But also, you must make sure that that's on securely once you've filled it up. And then here's the dirty tank. And again, it's a similar fitting. You've got two clips either side, so that seems to be a bit easier, he says. Of course, it's all brand new, so it's going to be a bit stiff. So that's the top. You can rinse that after use. That's the dirty water tank. So you do have to remove the top. I don't think you can pour it out without taking the top off. And then you've got this part which incorporates the float valve. And again, it's all a bit stiff at the moment. So yeah, there's your dirty tank. And here is the float valve. And we've also got a mesh filter. It's important to keep that mesh filter clean. So once you've used the machine, give all this a good rinse and then leave it to dry. There's another little mesh filter inside there, which is quite good. You can't see it because it's hidden, but I don't know if you can, yeah, you might be able to just see something moving. Inside here, inside this tower, is a little float valve. So as you use the machine, as it fills up with the dirty water, the float valve inside here rises up and then will cut the suction off. So as soon as you find the cleaner's not picking up and there's a higher tone of the motor, the pitch will be higher, then it's time to empty, and you must empty the machine when it's full. And never leave it, even if you've just cleaned up a small area, don't leave this with any dirty water in because it will stink after a while. After every use, take it out, rinse it, leave it to air dry, and then reassemble, ready for the next time. So that's good. It all looks, yeah, pretty robust. Right, it goes in that way. There's only one way the lid goes on, like so. Okay, so dirty and clean. I filled the solution tank, which has a capacity of 1.7 litres, and put the whole sachet in. So Karcher recommend 100 ml of solution per full tank. So that is the solution gone now. So as I said, get yourself some extra solution if you plan on buying this machine. So solution in, the tank top is firmly in place and the stopper is closed. So now I can lower it into the machine like so. The dirty water tank is properly located, so we can now unwind the cable and we'll connect the hose up and we'll try it out, see if it's spraying as it should. So plug in and then I'll connect the hose up and we should be ready to go. So now when I turn on the machine using the dial here, we'll get the suction motor activated as well as the pump, and after a few seconds, when it's brand new, it's obviously going to take time to pump the solution through because the solution pipe is located inside the hose, so it's built in, which is handy. Most carpet washers have it built in, so you'll have to wait a few seconds. So if it's not spraying out straight away, just be patient, it should start coming out. And then I've got a bit of test carpet. I'm going to put some spillages on it and we'll try and clean them up. I've got a few foodstuffs here to spill on this mat to demonstrate the spot washer in action. So I've got some ketchup, put a bit of that on, like so, lovely jubbly. and then some blackcurrant jam. And I've had trouble with blackcurrant jam. I don't think you've seen the video yet, but even a big carpet washer had trouble with the blackcurrant jam. But we'll put that on, smear it in. And while I'm at it, we'll smear the ketchup in. This is going to smell horrible when it's being picked up, I think. All right, there we are. Now what I'll do, I'll leave that in for a bit, but there are some solid pieces in the jam, obviously solid bits of fruit. And what you'd normally do before using one of these machines, if there are any solid particles, it's best to scrape those off, get a bit of kitchen roll, get the big bits off, you know, so like I would use this spoon. Do that first. I'm just going to spread it out a bit more. And, you know, even if it's something like, you know, sick, you don't want to leave chunks. You need to remove the solid bits, and then it's going to work better at hopefully removing the stain. Whoops, nearly had that over. Good job the lid was on. Right, there's that. And then we've got some barbecue sauce. Give that a shake. There we are. Bit of barbecue sauce here. Yummy. Rub that in. And then finally I've got some cola. Oh, that stinks. There we are. Rub that in nicely. I'll just remove the solid parts from the jam, like so. And then we've got the cola. I don't think it's going to work, you know. It's a lot of stains. We'll have to put the cola behind. Just sort of pour it on. Whoops. There we go. It's sort of mixed in. Right, we'll leave that for a minute or so, because if you do have an accident, it's going to take, you know, a few minutes in order for you to grab your spot cleaner. So I'll leave it 5 minutes to be generous while I'm setting up the machine. I'm getting it from the cupboard, putting solution in, plugging it in and everything. So would say 5 minutes, but the sooner you can get to any stain the better, which is why these spot washers are a boon, because rather than trying to mop the thing up with kitchen towels and using various sprays, what the spot washer will do is suck up the stain. That's what you'd first do. If it's like a liquid stain like the cola, suck up as much as you can using suction only, and then attack it with the spray, and then you can, you know, suck it up. But if it's heavily soiled, as I said, you could pre-treat, which is probably what I'll do with this. I'm going to suck up as much of the cola as I can. These are fairly solid, well, not solid, but they're thick. That's what I meant to say. These are quite thick liquids, the ketchup, the jam, and the barbecue sauce. So there's no need to try and pick up any of that. So I'm going to pre-spray all these stains, but first I will pick up as much of the cola as I can. Then I'll pre-spray the area and then leave it again another 5 minutes. But some things you might not have to pre-spray. In fact, I'm just going to try, I'll do a quick pre-spray, but I'm going to try and remove this without too much pre-spraying. But if the stain is left, and I suspect it might be, especially with the jam, I'll spray again and then leave it to soak to see if the solution will work. Don't over soak your carpet or upholstery. It's best to try and clean it up a second time. If you haven't got it the first time and it's dried, go over it again, but don't keep saturating the carpet. Okie dokie, I'll leave it 5 minutes and then we'll come back and see if we can remove all these stains. As you can see, the stains are still visible, but it's made a good first attempt. I do have two very bright studio lights directed at this bit of carpet, so it is going to highlight it even more. But what I'm going to do, as I said, I've got the worst off. The cola seems to have been removed, but I'm going to spray on each stain again using the spray only and leave it for 5 minutes, and then go over it again with solution and suction as well. So first of all, spray. As I said, it's a shame there's no brush, because it's good to be able to agitate for certain stains, but you can just use the front of the nozzle, and that's what I'll do. I'll spray on and then just use the nozzle just to push the detergent further into the stain, but I'll switch the machine off when I'm doing that part, and then we'll leave it another 5 minutes and then suck up, hopefully, the rest of the stain. So now, as I see, I'm agitating the solution into the stain, but for this you could use a brush, trying to get it a bit deeper. Okie dokie, we'll leave that for 5 minutes, as I said, and we'll try and remove more of these stains. Even after a second attempt, I haven't been able to remove the barbecue sauce or the ketchup. I think the jam has mostly been removed, as has the cola, but obviously it's down to the cleaning solution. I might at the end of the video put some Bissell Oxy Action solution in here with stain removal properties. The solution that comes with this Karcher, it doesn't say anything about stain removal. It's just a regular solution. I can imagine a lot of you saying, it's all very well demonstrating this machine on fresh stains. What about a stain that's been there for a day, a week, a month, or years? Well, I can't dirty a carpet for years on end, but I have dirtied the other side of this carpet 2 weeks ago and left it out in the sun to dry on. So I'll flip it over and we'll take a look at the same stains, but after 2 weeks. As you can see, these stains have thoroughly dried on. It looks a bit like a desert here because it's dried and cracked. So I think this is actually gravy diluted, not cola. I might have put cola on as well, but that's gravy. That's the jam. I don't have high hopes for that. This is the ketchup, and this stain here, it's soaked a bit in, but that's the barbecue sauce. So because this is such an old stain, I will pre-treat, leave it for 5 minutes, and we'll see if we can make any improvement on this mess. Okay, I'll just rub it in a bit. It's already making a difference actually with the gravy. Yeah, this definitely is the gravy. I can see little bits of onion coming up now. Oh, I can smell it. Yeah, I think, judging by this pre-treat, oh, look at that. Ugh. Judging by this bit I'm pre-treating, I think it's going to do okay with the gravy. Possibly, yeah, it's going to make a difference. But will it remove everything? Yeah, that's a bit more tenacious. The ketchup. And then the jam, oh, that is rock solid. I'll put a bit more solution on that. Yeah, that's going to be difficult. It's scraping a lot of the solids off onto the nozzle. I'll have to give that a bit of a clean before I continue the demo. But yeah, it's getting those solid bits off. So I think it's just with the solution, there is a slight improvement. Right, I'll set an alarm for 5 minutes and I'll come back. And this time, because it's very old staining, I will extract as well as spray at the same time. Not a fantastic result. On the gravy, with a little bit more agitation and a little bit more spray, that would have removed everything. But yeah, the jam, the ketchup and the barbecue sauce is still visible. But as I said, a lot of the performance of these types of machines is reliant on the solution, and I don't think the Karcher solution is designed for stain removal. It's designed for a deeper clean, so it'd be fine on your stairs, freshening up your upholstery, your car seats, etc. But when it comes to stains, especially set in, and as you can see, these are worse. The set in stains are worse than the stains that I made, you know, during the video, the 5-minute stains, but these are 2-week stains and they were left in the sun. But some of the dirt, yes, as you can see, has been removed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, well, first we'll have a look at the dirty water tank. As you can see, that's all the muck I've picked up. I'm going to fill the clean water tank, which is now empty. I'm going to fill it with some Bissell solution, and I'll show you the solution I'm using. I found that to be more effective on this sort of stain, so we'll see if the solution makes a big difference to the performance of this Karcher spot cleaner. Instead of the Karcher solution, I filled a tank with hot water and half a capful of this Bissell Wash and Protect Pro Stain and Odour. Now, I haven't measured it out, I've just used half a capful, topped it up with hot water. This is designed for full-sized carpet washers, but in my experience there's little difference between the solutions for full-sized machines and spot cleaners. So that's gone in. I've also got this is a Spot Clean Boost, and this is specifically designed for spot washers, preferably Bissell ones, but I'm going to try it with the Karcher. I'm going to use the solution in the machine first, and if the stain is still persisting, I could always put some of this on. This is used in Bissell with this special oxygen boost attachment, but you can use it for manual cleaning. You can just pre-spray. In fact, that's what I'll do. I've just got a spray nozzle. I don't know if it's going to fit. It won't fit the bottle, but we'll try and just spray these stains here. There we go. It's coming out now. And then there's oxygen solution. It's an oxygen based solution that I put in the machine. So we might have more of a chance. Alright, the spray's not reaching. I'll just dab a bit on. So this is, as I said, it's designed to be used neat. It's trial and error with some stains. It's still worth getting a spot cleaner, but you'll find that some stains cannot be removed with the supplied solution. Right, that'll do. Okay, so I'll just leave that for a few more minutes, and then I'll go over again using the Karcher, but this time with the Bissell solution. Using the oxygen-based pre-treatment and the Bissell solution, it's made a huge difference. The stains aren't completely gone. I think the camera is just about picking up. Again, very bright lights. With normal lighting, you might not even notice, but there is still a bit of the stain left in the middle. That's the ketchup. And a slight stain left on the barbecue sauce. I think the jam has all gone. But what I've found with some of these oxygen-based cleaners, they don't appear to work at the time. It's done a very good job compared to the Karcher solution. But what I found, I did a similar test with a full-sized carpet washer and with similar stains, including the blackcurrant jam. And it didn't appear to remove everything. And then when I went back to the rug after it had dried, the stains had significantly reduced. So I think the oxygen-based cleaning solution still works as it's drying. So we might come back to this and find that this stain has faded even more. If not, I won't do this anymore. What I would do with this stain is leave it now to dry, and then if there is still a stain, I'd again spray pre-treat with oxygen solution and then clean again. But I can never say if a carpet washer or spot washer is going to remove a stain. It's, you know, it's trial and error. It depends very much on what the stain is. It depends on what the carpet or fabric is made of. There are many different scenarios. So I can never say, yes, it's going to remove that. But certainly the Bissell solution is much better than the Karcher solution. And though Karcher will say use their solution, they may even invalidate your warranty if you don't use their solution. Most manufacturers say you have to use their solution. So if you're not bothered that you might invalidate your warranty, then use a different solution, or at least get a pre-treatment spray, preferably an oxygen-based pre-treatment spray that you can spray the stain, and then you could use the Karcher solution, and that still might remove the stain. After you've finished cleaning, it's advisable to flush out the system with clean water, and you can do that with the self-clean feature. What you need to do is make sure that the dirty water tank is empty, and the clean water tank, fill that with water. You don't have to put solution in, just fill it with warm water up to the maximum fill line. Place it back in the machine, attach the spraying crevice tool to the end of the hose, then remove the stopper from the clean water tank and insert the spraying crevice tool into the hole. When you switch on, it's going to suck clean water through the hose to clear that out, but also if you squeeze the trigger, it will also flush through the solution tube. You don't want any residue solution left in there, because when it dries it could possibly cause a blockage for your next time you use it. So I'm going to actually switch it on. I'm going to squeeze the trigger now and select the locked on position. So all I'm going to do is insert this into here, like so, switch on, and leave it to empty out the clean water tank into the dirty water tank. You can then remove the crevice tool from the clean water tank and then take the dirty water tank and empty out the water. When you finish cleaning, wrap the cord around the cord storage at the back and secure it with the clip provided. I would advise you to rinse out the tanks after use, especially the dirty water tank. Rinse them out and leave them to air dry. Once they're dry, you can assemble them ready for next time. Here's the dirty water tank and the float valve. Just need to pop that in like so, and then the lid. It only goes in one way. So now that's ready for the next use. Pop that in the machine, and then also I would rinse out the clean water tank, and then you can pop the lid back on. I wouldn't advise storing cleaning solution in the machine because it could leak. I've had other carpet washers that have leaked because I've left solution in them. So always leave them empty, ready for next time. It won't take you long just to grab some solution and fill it with fresh water when you have to deal with an accidental spillage, or if you just want to take it out and clean your car. It can even be used, I would say, on caravan sofas, motorhome seats, other places, but test for colour fastness before you use it, and just check that you can use a wet cleaning method on whatever fabric you use the machine on, and that goes for any sort of carpet washer. So I'm just going to pop that there. That slides back in the machine. There we are. I've also just rinsed the nozzles through under the tap, and then I'll leave them to dry. I'm going to take this apart in a minute because they're not quite dry, they're still dripping, but just for the sake of finishing off this video. And personally, it's up to you, but I'm going to store the hose just next to the machine. I don't really want to cause a strain by wrapping it tightly around, because I've had two of these types of cleaners that have had split hoses, both a Bissell and a Vax, that have split the hose because of the strain caused by tightly wrapping the hose around. So it's going to take up a little bit more room, but just put it next to it. If you're putting this in your cupboard, you know, just pop the hose next to it like that, and then of course you've got your two nozzles. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, because I've got some more spot washers to show you, as well as full-sized carpet washers, vacuum cleaners and other floor care products. And you can check my playlists because I might have already tested the cleaner you're interested in. If you have any comments or questions about this Kärcher Compact Home SE3 Spot Cleaner, please comment below, and I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.